Hey, what is up? Welcome back to another video. So what up, you guys? Today is ARK Survival Evolved. I used to play this game a lot and I've decided to come back to it. I have my reasons for leaving, but now that I'm back, I decided to do some videos on the new map Valguero, which is a DLC map. It wasn't actually created by Wildcard, but they bought it and I really do like the map. There are a lot of hidden things on this map, such as a deep ocean and aberration, and what I'm showing you guys right now is the deep ocean. There are a couple entrances I know and decided to show you it. At the beginning, I pulled out the map, but you can just look around at the surroundings, and I'm going to lead you guys towards the first one. This entrance is a little harder to find than the other ones, just because of the area it's in. There's nothing that really stands out, so it's just in the water somewhere, somewhat, but it is close to a lot of spawn points, so in terms of convenience, it's there. We're almost at the deep sea entrance, and you can just look at the rock formations. They're a little irregular over here, so it wouldn't be too difficult to find the entrance. And then right here in this little crevice, there's gonna be a hole. It looks like a cave entrance, and when you go in it, it's gonna be access to the deep sea. So I have to do this little rotation with my mana because it doesn't go down right. And as you can see right there, if I go down, I will be in the deep sea. Now, just like all the other cave systems or going into aberration or whatever, it will load, so if you freeze a little bit, don't worry. It's just because it's loading up the deep sea. Just like that. I'm going to pull out my map for a second just so you can see where it is. And if you look at the map, you just want to go around this area and look for this. I don't know how else to get the exact location, but it's not too difficult once you get in here. As you can see here, I do have an admin tool mod on. I mean, you can't exactly get like a level 150,000 manta, can you? But I'm going to spawn in some scuba flippers so I can show you guys around the area a little more. So it's going to do a slight freeze because I'm leaving the entrance. I'm just going to give you another look at the location so you can find it easier. Once again, there's nothing that really stands out in this area, just a bunch of trees. But once you go here, you can I show you again the general location on the map. But once you go here, you should be able to find it by going underwater. The rocks, all the rocks sort of form into the cave. I don't know how to really describe it, but it's not that hard to find this cave entrance. I found it right away several times, and it just happens. It's right in the middle of it. You go follow this little path, and you're right in. I still have two more locations to show you guys, but before I do that, I'm just gonna talk about the deep sea a little bit. There's not a lot of creatures in the deep sea. It's just mostly emptiness, like black emptiness, but you can find Tusos, you can find, you know, plesiosaurs, mosasaurs, whatever. You can find all of them there. Like you can see here, there's some plesies. But when you get a little further in, it's very hard to find anything. It's just a bunch of emptiness. There's some oil you can get some silica, but it's just a lot of darkness. And it goes really deep as well, so you can keep swimming down, and I didn't really, when I kept swimming down, there wasn't really a border anytime soon. It took me a couple minutes with a Mosa, so there's a lot of space to go through in here. This is the second entrance that I found on going into the deep sea. I actually came out of it, so I didn't find it from the surface, but this is where it is. You can look at the map once again, and it's a little easier to find than the other one because the river or whatever is not as thick, so you can find it pretty easily. But I changed my gamma a couple times because when you're in the deep ocean, you're gonna have to, or the deep sea, you're gonna have to have a lot of gamma. I think I went up to 4 or 5 just because it was so dark. So we're gonna head back into the entrance, and it's right here. And you're gonna have to go through a long tunnel. There's a lot of silica and stuff you can find your way here. You can find a bunch of megalodons and whatever. So there are creatures you'll find in this entrance area. Once again, when you go further in, you find a lot less. even with this Mosa having 140 speed, it still takes a minute or two to go through this tunnel. So if you're, you know, without a mount, you'll probably run out of stam before you can get through it. So you're going to want to have a dolphin or something so you can get through here. And you can see there's a bunch of silica. You still have some creatures you can find and kill. You got some oil, but it's not nearly as good as the river. You'll find there's a decent amount of silica in here, but there's a lot better locations on the map. I'm going to save you guys the boredom of waiting for me to get through this tunnel system. You just go into the deep sea and that's all there is to it after that. But this is the last entrance that I found. As far as I know, these are the only entrances, but there could definitely be more. I was in the deep sea for a decent amount of time, and these are the only ones I could find, but I don't doubt for a second that there are more. This area that I'm about to go to is probably the easiest place to find because there's actually something there. There's a really good building location with a lot of resources like crystal, metal, stone. Outside you have trees or whatever. You have silica below. So it's a very good building location. Also, it's one of the only areas that you can have a deep sea dino inside of your base without a dino pen, you know, as a separate base, because you can go in with a Tuso and store it up here instead of cryoing it and putting it in the river next to you or whatever. So it's a very nice location to have for deep sea dinos, and you can just store them all up right here. Once again, this is definitely a resource haven. There's a lot of crystal, and crystal is not easy to come across on this map. It's one of the rare resources. There's several areas that have a lot, but it's not as common as you would find in things like Ragnarok. And here's the outside of it. There's, I think, 3 to 4 ways to go in, but they're all small little tunnels. You can't fit a Rex in, I don't think, unless you went underwater with it, which isn't the, you know, I don't think it would survive. But you can definitely cryo it or do any of that stuff to get it in. You can maybe fit Carnos in, maybe Allos, but things like Gigas, I doubt you can fit in here unless you were to cryo it. So that was a top entrance. There are still a couple of entrances from below that I'm about to show you. And they're all easy to cover up if you wanted to with a gate, so it would be pretty difficult for someone to raid this base if you had the right people and the right building strategies for it. So this is not the entrance, but right down here there are going to be 2 entrances in, and you can just walk dinos in or build a ramp up, whatever you want to do. So this is the cave that leads in. It's a very nice building location, like I said. But it's also one of the entrances into the water system, or the deep sea, which is the most important part. So anyway, those are the spots that I found, but I'm going to give you a little look at the deep sea. I have my gamma up to like 4 here because you can't see it without, but I mean, it's pretty empty. There's not a lot. You can find Tusos, you can find alphas, whatever, but it's mostly empty. I don't think there's any drops. You don't really get a lot of silica the further you go in. You don't find oil or anything. I think they'll do more with this in the future. I hope they do, but it's not a huge part of this map. I do like it how you can go and get some Tusos and stuff, because at first I thought you couldn't. And it's also good for anglerfish, but honestly, not a lot to this besides those big dinos. You won't find anything special like sunken ships or whatever. You find those in the center, but you won't really find it here. I also think it's a little dark as you go further down. Up here it's lighter, but the further you go down, the darker it gets, because you don't really have the walls and the rocks, because just emptiness. I think they should do something about that. But you can go pretty far down, and I know that when you go really far down, you can see through the world a little bit, which might be a problem because you can see bases through the world. But honestly, I still think it's cool that they have this, just like I think it's cool that they have the secret aberration locations. Some of the things look nice here, like the giant crystals to my left. But overall, that's pretty much the deep ocean. There's not a lot to it right now. I hope they add more. But you can find your Tusos, or the Tuso fans, you can find your Tusos, plesiosaurs, Mosas, whatever. And yeah, guys, Thanks for watching. I hope you guys go check this out because I still think it's pretty cool, and I'll see you next time. Peace.